Now, a shocking new poll out today claims that 80% of the British public, they don't feel any better off since the Labour Party came to power, and only 14% do feel better off. And today, another blow to homeowners as interest rates were frozen, with surging wages to blame. Well, who's getting a surging wage? Well, it's the Labour Party giving £50 billion away to public sector workers to blame for the rest of us feeling the pinch. Let's talk now with our political advisor, Chris Hope, who joins me in the studio. Chris, what people really care about in politics is, do I feel any better off? All the stuff they bang on about in Parliament, the tweaks to policy, is it making an impact on my life? This poll today says it isn't. 40% feel actively worse off since Labour came in. Only 14% feel better off, and it looks like it might get worse. Business is calling it awful April. 88% of households getting the maximum 4.99% council tax rise. And they're also facing water bills going up, electric bills going up, and then there's the national insurance hike kicking in on April the 6th. All of this equates to the fact people aren't feeling better off, and they're starting to think, what's the point of this then?
Yeah, and it comes on a day, I think, great to see you back in the studio, Martin. It comes on a day when the Bank of England has chosen to leave borrowing costs unchanged at 4.5%. I mean, the government was hoping right now that all those measures they put in last year, notwithstanding the tax increase, would have some benefit with people, but they're not feeling richer. Morgan McSweeney, who is the most important man in Labour politics who you've never heard of, he's the guy behind the scenes, the chief of staff person to Keir Starmer. He recognises the need to make people feel richer. Forget all this G7 comparison business. How do they feel better off? And yeah, it might seem strange if people feel that the wages are running away. Certainly in the private sector, I feel they aren't. Maybe in the public sector, that's what they're talking about. There's big increases pushed through last year by the government.
That's right. I mean, if you look at the giveaway there, public sector pay deal, that's 9.4 billion a year, 47 billion quid that costs during the term of this Parliament. Junior doctor pay rises, 500 million a year, that's 2.5 billion. Train drivers over the period of Parliament, 675 million pounds. That's 50 billion quid in public sector pay rises. Everybody else, meanwhile, is feeling the pinch. And Mr McSweeney can say people need to feel the difference. They're not feeling the difference. They're feeling worse off.
Well, he's trying to make them all feel the difference. I appreciate there has been some support for public sector workers. They want everyone to feel better off. Next week, we're looking into this office of the Public Guardian, the OBR assessment of where the economy is next week. And then we are expecting the government probably to hold those income tax thresholds the same. So more people getting these pay rises will be caught by this paying more in income tax. Not easy, difficult times, and big bills going up in early April. We're looking at a 2 weeks of misery, I think, for millions of people.
And there's been a lot of criticism about the national insurance hike and the minimum wage hike. That kicks in early doors in April. All eyes on this potential spring statement. The Conservative Party would like us to believe there's going to be an emergency financial moment, an emergency budget. None of this was in the script. When they were on the electoral cycle, the general election, it was ending the 14 years of chaos. The adults are back in charge. Strong, stable government. This doesn't feel anything like that.
They can't get the economy growing, and many are saying, well, you're loading up business with new regulations, the measures coming in April, the Angela Rayner legislation, looking at more measures on companies. Why would you employ people? It's a downward pressure on workers, and also concerns about the minimum wage, and that's a squeeze also, particularly in areas like the hospitality sector. Difficult.